Hey, what's going on, guys? Somebody's Gone here, and today we're going to be talking about Chonker Speedway. This is a POI that we've seen a lot of success from duos, so we're going to be breaking it down, talking about the pros and the cons, and just an overview of the POI in general. Hopefully help you guys out if you're trying to fight at it and win it, and then I'll let you guys decide whether or not you want to drop here. So thanks for watching the video. I hope you enjoy it. If you do, make sure to like and subscribe. Let's get right to it. Let's start off by taking an overview of the POI. First, looking at chests, there's 46 total chests, which is about medium to high on the chest spawn rate for all the POIs. It's pretty good. You'll get enough loot, especially if you're here uncontested. The floor spawns are one of the strong points. There's 149 total floor spawns in the entire POI and surrounding area. This means you're going to be able to get lots of pads, ammo, all that good stuff. Secondly, another strong point is going to be the coolers. That means guzzle juices, chug splashes, basically unlimited heals is what's going to come out of this. The ammo boxes, not as strong as a lot of other POIs. We're only going to see 24. We also have nom boxes, which is almost going to guarantee you peppers. There's 8 nom boxes, so I'd be really surprised if you don't get peppers. And for movement, we're going to consistently have Lambos with the Chonker tires on them. There's going to be 4 of them that spawn on the track. And then you also have quad crashers in the surrounding area if you choose to grab those. Let's talk about the good stuff, the pros to landing at this POI. You have heals for days if you're landing here, and that's because of all the coolers. And honestly, chug splashes are probably the best heal to have a full inventory of out of all of them. That's because of the versatility and the splash heal available. Now, the second thing is going to be spawn-based movement. You're always going to get the quads or the Chonker Lambos, which are going to allow you to have so much movement around the map. I've seen a lot of pros using and saving these for mid-game, and those rotates are going to be so much easier than if you didn't have the Chonker tire. We don't know how Spider-Man's going to play out through the rest of the season, so we want to be able to rely on vehicles or some spawn-based movement, not simply just the Spider-Man. Now, we also have a lot of floor spawns and chests. That means good ammo, good pads, good loot. Overall, you're not going to be hurting coming out of here, and you're always going to have a ton of shield. As far as materials go, you're going to have a ton of metal. It's one of the few places where you're not really going to have to worry about farming metal. You can get more than your fill, especially for a duo. The only issue as far as materials go, the wood, the brick are a little weak, but any kind of rotate's going to take you into areas where you can find both, so I'm not worried about those. Then, it's also not a place where you're going to see many people rotating into, and you're not going to get third-partied quite as often as some other POIs because it's on the edge of the map and there's not really any places that are going to force you out of the POI. Lastly, the last pro is that it's splittable. This can also be a negative, but I think it's definitely a positive based on the amount of loot here and the amount of heals. If you need, you can split it and you don't have to fight over this POI every time. There's more than enough loot for 2 different duos. Alright, we talked about the good stuff. Now it's time to talk about the negative. One, there's several areas with a lot of loot, and overall the loot is spread out. So you're not necessarily going to be able to loot this super quickly if it is contested, especially because you're going to have to worry about where the other teams are, and you're going to have to worry about getting to certain areas because, you know, it's a chest here, floor spawn here, a couple more floor spawns, but not a super condensed loot area. The next part is you're typically going to have pieces of this POI stolen from you. One, you're not going to be able to loot it fast enough to be able to claim all that space. And 2, there's a couple of different places such as the rifts over to the east or further down south, John Wick's house, where players are going to want to steal different pieces or different cooler areas that really take away from your loot. Granted, you don't need all of that, but it is a little downside. And another piece is you're not typically going to pull zone. I've played and watched a lot of games. Haven't seen a ton of southern zones. A lot of them are going central. Occasionally you will pull zone, but because you're on the edge of the map, you're not guaranteed to pull zone. Next, you're likely going to be contested if you're landing here, especially in any kind of open format. It's such a good POI, so you're going to have to learn how to fight it, and if you don't know how, this is not the place to land in a tournament. You need to know how to fight off spawn, and we'll talk about that here in the end. Lastly, surge can be an issue if you're unconned. That is because the southern POI doesn't necessarily have a ton of places nearby. Now, I've seen a couple of different strategies. You could look for tags quickly landing on one of the plateaus and getting some tags early off players in the air, or you can just use the Chonker tires on the Lambo to get yourself in a good position in mid game, but that means you have to loot quickly and you're going to sacrifice some ammo, possibly heals. Either way, I think this is overall an awesome spot to land, and I would land here if I was trying to find a place on this map. Lastly, let's talk about how to win this. So typically what I've found is the best strategy is landing on one of these northern plateaus that have either one chest and multiple floor spawns, or 3 chests and multiple floor spawns as well. This is going to give you a great overview of what the POI looks like. You can see where players are landing and potentially get shots on from up here before the players even land, or even get some eliminations. Then once you get in, you need to claim one of these buildings and fight from that building to the outside. It's not always going to work, but if you're playing together with your duo, that's the most important. You need to stick together, play together, and force the other team to make mistakes. If you're able to do that, you're going to consistently win this. I found fighting from one of the buildings to the outside is going to be your best bet, but really finding a loot path that gets you some chests, maybe a couple coolers quickly so you can get full shield and have that shield advantage on a regular basis will be the way that you win this POI. As far as drop spots go, I would try and focus on the rivers or the water nearby. Those are going to be the lowest areas, and if you're consistently pulling your glider over that area, it's going to give you a really good drop for almost whatever you want. Now you can make little tweaks and changes based on where you want to land at the POI, but I've found the river on the north side, the water on the south side, or somewhere that's low ground on the west or east is where you want to be. If you want to learn more about how to fight here, how to land here, and do those sort of things, you can always VOD review different pros. Booga and Miro are one that are landing here and doing really well. Then if you want to watch some EU pros, you can check out what Fastroki, Kylie, Stormy Wright, and Kuriachi are doing down here at Chonker Speedway. It's an awesome POI, and I highly recommend that you guys land here if you're trying to find a spot, especially if you really want to play some different kind of heal strategies during endgame. Now I don't mean to heal off, but I mean using Storm to rotate to make plays, because with all the splashes you can dive in Storm, you have the extra whites, and it really gives you the ability to play differently and to play around. Now I hope you guys enjoyed the video. I want to thank you so much for watching. I always appreciate the support. My name is Somebody's Gun. Thank you so much once again, and I will see you guys next time.